Hey there, Chef Michael Montgomery from the Culinary School of the Rockies. Today we are grilling. It's that time of year where we start to think about a lot of outdoor cooking. So I want to cover a few grilling basics with you. How to grill animal protein, how to grill up some veggies. I'm going to do a really basic barbecue rub for a piece of bison that we're going to throw on the grill. And then I'm going to put together a really quick homemade steak sauce put on top of the bison. Let's begin first and foremost about generally talking about grilling. I'm going to be grilling inside today just for the sake of our video. So what I have set up here is, we call it a French grill at the Culinary School. It's an indoor grill. It's made of cast iron. That should tell you right away that it needs some time to preheat. Just like any grill, grilling is a high heat cooking method. Get your grill hot. If you're using a grill pan of any kind, get your grill pan hot. This is going to take maybe about 10 minutes to get hot. If you need to test how hot your grill is, you can throw a little water on your fingertips, give the grill a splatter. The water should evaporate almost instantly. Or this will actually start to smoke a little bit because it's cast iron. We also do not wash our cast iron with soap here. We'll rinse off any residue that starts to build up. Anything loose, we'll kind of just flake it off with a towel. But I want to keep this coated with that lovely surface that's going to help us keep the grill a little more non-stick. It's also going to give us that really great grilling or grilled flavor. If I'm going to grill something, I want to see grill marks. I want to see that lovely caramelization. I also want to get that flavor from the grill. So don't scour your grill pans with soap. Same with your grill, your outdoor grills. I try not to scour it with soap. I actually want some of that residue to build up and give us that flavor that I was talking about. Also help with the sticking. So let's get started. My grill pan is getting hot. The first thing I want to do is I have a piece of bison. This is a boneless top loin steak. Very easy to grill. Should not take long at all. It's not even an inch thick. If this were any larger than this, I would want to make sure that I had it out at room temperature, getting evenly to room temperature before I throw it on the grill. The reason I want to do that is I don't want to introduce anything to the grill that has a cold center and warmer on the outside. What's going to happen is the outside is going to cook at a higher rate than the cold inside of the protein. This, because it's not very thick, there's no bone involved, I didn't really have to worry about keeping it out at room temperature for any period of time before the grill. But think about that. If you're grilling anything large, make sure you're going to let it come to room temperature before you throw it on the grill. Let's put together a really quick basic spice rub. And I'm just going to coat both sides of this bison in a little spice rub. So what I have in front of me are my favorite basic barbecue spices. So, of course, I'm going to start out with a little something sweet, and I choose brown sugar. I like brown sugar because it's a little more complex than just white sugar. Next, I've got some smoked paprika. So I got that nice sweet smokiness from that Spanish paprika. Moving around, ground cumin. I absolutely love cumin and can't keep it out of any kind of spice rub. This is ancho chili powder. You could use any kind of chili powder you have. Some people like it a little more spicy, some people like it a little more mild. I love the flavor of ancho, so I'm going to throw that in. I have some oregano, dried, into the mix. Some freshly ground black peppers going in there. And then some kosher salt. I'm going to mix this all up. Make sure it looks nice and even in the bowl. And then I'm going to introduce it to this bison. I would say, just because this is a pretty small steak, give the bison about 5 minutes with the spice rub on the outside before you hit the grill, just to get some of those dried spices rehydrated a little bit, and you're giving that exterior a really quick marinade of sorts in the dry form. So this is looking good. I'm going to get in here with my fingertips to help that brown sugar get broken up. And I can already smell how wonderful this is going to be. When any dried spice hits the heat, you really get the flavors working in the spice. You get those oils working in the spice that you typically wouldn't if you just left it in a dry form. So heat is really good for dried spices, and we're going to get a lot of flavor out of this as soon as it hits the grill. So again, I'm just going to generously coat both sides of this bison steak. I like a lot of spice rub. So I'm going to almost massage it in a little bit, flip it over, and do the exact same thing. And like I said, about 5 minutes. It's also going to stick a little bit more when I hit the grill if I allow it to sit on the meat just a bit ahead of time. So our spice rubs have been sitting on this bison steak for a few minutes now, and my grill is feeling nice and hot. I've had it preheating for at least 10 minutes. And before I introduce this piece of bison, I want to give this grill a little bit of oil. So what I do, I'm using what is called rice bran oil. It's a really good, neutral, high heat vegetable oil. Putting some on a kitchen towel, and I'm just giving the grill a light rub with a little bit of this vegetable oil. Give it a little bit more, and you can do this before you cook. You can do this after you've wiped your grill off, before you store it. You can rub it with a little bit of oil. Try not to use olive oil. Use a more neutral vegetable oil for storage of cast iron if you're going to do it that way. Again, nice and hot. You want to make sure your grill is going to make a noise before you introduce anything. So as soon as I put that piece of meat on there, I should hear a sizzle. If I don't hear a sizzle, I know I'm not quite hot enough. Another thing you should pay attention to before this goes on the grill is give this a nice touch with your finger and feel how soft this piece of bison is. This is going to help us determine when this is done. As protein, certainly animal protein, cooks, it tightens. So this is no longer going to feel quite as soft. It's going to start springing back as it cooks on the grill. So I'm going to really pay attention to the touch so I get a nice medium rare steak. I heard a little sizzle there, which is good. Again, I don't want to see a big flare up. Flames are actually bad. A lot of people throw something, certainly on your outdoor grills, throw something on the grill and give it a big old press with your spatula. That's releasing all those juices that should stay on the inside of the protein. All those juices are also dripping onto the flame and causing the flame to shoot up. We don't want that to happen. That's completely coating the steak with all that soot, which really isn't very good for you and also tastes pretty bad. So watch out for flames. You want nice high heat, but no flames licking the food. We're gonna let this go probably for about 4 minutes. I'm not going to touch it until that point. What is nice about grilling or sauteing animal proteins is the animal protein will let you know when it's ready to turn. So if I were to take my spatula right now and try to pick this piece of bison up, it's gonna stick. That means the bison hasn't seared and it's not ready to be turned. So listen to the piece of protein that you're cooking. It'll tell you when it's ready to turn. Give it a light touch and see if it's loosened. If it has loosened itself, you're free to turn it. At that point, you should have those really lovely grill marks or that caramelization I was talking about. And you'll grill the other side for maybe an additional 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how you want your steak to be done. Again, I'm shooting for a nice medium rare. I'm not going to use a thermometer. If I were to use a thermometer, it would be right around the 135 degree mark. Something else you need to take into consideration is certainly beef or bison, because it's pretty dense, will what is called carry over cook when you take it off the grill. That means it's going to continue cooking a bit when I take it off. So I want to make sure I'm just slightly undercooking it to where I want it, allowing that carry over cook to do the rest of the job for me.